Call a special meeting of council order for Tuesday, August 26. To approve of the agenda, please. Council Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. That the August 26, 2025 special council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Dussault. All in favor? Carried. Good. New business, liquor and cannabis regulation branch invitation for engagement. Report dated August 26, 2025 from the Chief Administrative Officer regarding liquor and cannabis regulation branch invitation of engagement. Recommendations.
Okay.
Councillor Dussault.
That the District of Tumbler Ridge submit a written response to the Liquor and Cannabis Regulation Branch in response to the invitation for engagement on enabling cannabis sales at events.
Seconder. Councillor Bertrand, discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. And then by Zoom, we have Councillor Julik and Councillor Noxana. Councillor Noxana, if you're opposed to anything, if you can just let us know, because I know you're calling in. All right, second recommendation. Councillor Dussault.
That council provide the following responses to the 6 questions included with the discussion paper.
Seconder. Councillor Bertrand.
As presented.
Discussion. Ms. Scott, just a couple of questions I have in regards to when we first started working with the cannabis when it first was legalized by Canada, but the province. We had to make stipulations on where we wanted to allow it or not allow it. The District of Tumbler Ridge decided to follow the Liquor Control Act, where we don't allow people walking down our streets with open alcohol. So we followed the same thing when it came to cannabis. When it came to private businesses, it was up to them if they designated an area or didn't allow it, but we obviously couldn't have that bylaw attached to a private business. When I look at some of the things here and we talk about events and stuff like that, we have some private people that own private areas. This won't surpass what they decide. Is that correct or not correct?
From what I read in the discussion paper, that this was not intended, this was more intended for the events at public spaces, not within those private business type things.
Okay.
That was my takeaway from the discussion paper.
Okay, that was my understanding. I just want to make sure that's correct, because we have, right now we have TRD Society, they have the Fall Fairgrounds, that's private. Even though it's district property, it's under a lease agreement. That would be up to them to mandate what they want at an event there. Would that not be true? Because there's nothing within their contract.
I don't have the answer for that.
Okay.
Actually, I would have to review what's in that agreement.
Okay. Any other discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Mayor Kirkcallick is opposed. Motion carries. Moving on to Hope Truck Initiatives. Report dated August 26, 2025 from the Chief Administrative Officer regarding the Hope Truck Initiatives. Recommendations? Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move 1, that council receives this report for discussion.
Seconder. Councillor Dussault. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. I think this is a great opportunity for us that the Hope Truck is giving back to its surrounding communities. Jumping right into what I would like to see. I would like to see something that's long-lasting in our community that is almost like a capital project, so to speak. So I like option 2 and 4. Honestly, I really enjoy the Indigenous Trail Signage project, showcasing what we have here in the community that has Indigenous roots, something similar to the interpretive trail around town. And I really enjoy the Our Home, Our Story youth video project with elders of the community. When people come to Tumbler Ridge, they want to know more about it. And I know in my experience with libraries, these are projects that are going on regularly as well. You know, interviewing Indigenous elders, capturing that oral history and translating it into a recordable medium. Same thing with the Vancouver area. They're doing stories of the downtown east side. So I really like that idea. I think it's kind of neat to preserve our history that way. And I believe both of these projects could be long-lasting, is my thought there. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Dussault.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, thank you, Councillor Norbury. I too like 2 and 4. I don't really have much more to add to that, but lasting legacies are definitely something we should look at, and I think this is great that the Hope Truck is helping us with this.
Councillor Julik.
Look at us agreeing tonight. I'm also on the same page as 2 and 4. My question would be, though, who would be in charge of those things? Like, I don't believe it's something that we just drop with the youth. So I'm wondering, is there something somebody within District of Tumbler Ridge staff, or would we be reaching out to the schools to help us with this?
Yeah, it'll be all dealt with by staff. Now, they may reach out to the schools, they may do whatever, but as we give direction in regards to that Hope Truck funding, it'll be staff that carry it out in regards to whatever project the council decides on. Any other discussion? Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, for that reason, having established groups with adults in the room is why I liked options 1 and 3. Trora's going strong. I could see youth being involved with that, and it covers multiple groups. And the Geopark, I think it's a big selling point for Tumbler Ridge. I wouldn't mind seeing more engagement with the youth in that if they have. I would want to talk to the Geopark before we do that, but if they had room for that, it's, I think, something that would be good for the kids as well.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Bertrand.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm in favor of option 2. I like this idea of lasting legacy. Excellent initiative, absolutely. Just another idea that kind of came to my head here was just given the groups that are in partnership with the Hope Truck here. I think back a few years back when Kanuma put together a bit of an apprenticeship program with the high school, and it really opened a lot of the students' eyes with how many varieties of jobs there were at the mine, not just equipment operators and haul truck drivers, but I would love to see some sort of an apprenticeship legacy, given that the 4 partners involved are heavily involved with the mining industry as well.
Thank you. Just before I go to Council Joe, just want to give an overview to Council. Probably should have done it at the beginning, but I wanted to wait and hear comments. So I sit on the board for the Hope Truck Initiatives. Myself, Chief Paquette from Soto, was Chief Wilson, but he's now handed it over to Councillor Azure. Chat when the mayor is when he can make it, and then obviously we have some people from IMW and Kanuma. The initiative started obviously with West Moberly, Soto, and Kanuma came up with this idea. The funds are to be used for youth or children initiatives, signage. So there has to be some kind of Indigenous thing, but it's not all Indigenous, and it's not for just Indigenous people. It's for non-Indigenous people as well. This year here, they got away with the organization of this thing. Eventually, there'll be a board set up, and what will happen is communities, it'll still be split 4 ways, but communities will submit some of their ideas to the board, and then the board will either approve that decision or deny it and send it back for something else. So eventually be a board of 6 people. And, communities will start to submit. This year here, they were just trying, it was, obviously it was a very big initiative, and it just didn't work out that way. So eventually that's how it'll be ran, is my understanding from Chief Wilson. He actually pushed back this year, was trying to get them to, hold off. Like, the funds don't have to come in tomorrow, it'll be spent the next week. It should have been, that way everybody understands what everybody's doing. So we had to come up with some ideas. So staff had worked very hard on some of the ideas you see in front of us. And then we had a meeting with all the groups, all the First Nations, as well as the communities. And we just talked about them all. And I'll be honest, the one that really hit listening to the other people speak is when I talked about the Indigenous Trail Signage project was fairly well taken in from the organizations. And the other one is we talked about them all, but I brought up the Bears Lair Dream Camp. And I think we just need to get a bit more information before we look at some kind of project like that. I didn't get an opportunity to reach out to West Moberly or Soto today, but we're aware that they did host a Bears Lair Dream Camp. Soto has, McLeod Lake, Indian Band has, and West Moberly. So same concept. How does it work? How can we do it? Can we bring it to like the Gwillem School District 59 camping location? Like that's them working through details with First Nations, talking to the school board, which, you usually get a little bit different stance there, but I think it gives an opportunity for our youth and children to also attend and understand from the Indigenous side of things, what they went through with, I think it's a great thing. I'll be honest with you, I whether we're all agreeing tonight or not, but option 2 and option 4, I thought, hit the target. We have to eventually submit these to the group. It'll be talked about at the celebrations and stuff like that in regards to what people are spending their funds on. So that's why I put it in front of us. I mean, it's, I won't say it was late. We met in June, the end of June, and then, just tried to scramble after that because somebody was, like Chief Wilson brought up that we thought, oh, it's supposed to be a board decision and not, communities trying to put a bunch of stuff together, trying to, work their butts off, trying to get a bunch of information together by staff and get it in front of councils and stuff like that. But so eventually it'll be where we would come up with some ideas, obviously with staff's help, submit them to that board. And the board would say, yeah, that meets the criteria. Because their biggest thing is from the chief side, Chief Paquette and Chief Wilson, is just want to make sure it actually is targeted at what we're looking at. There are some Indigenous and non-Indigenous. It's for youth. It's for children. Not that we leave adults out, but that was where the trigger was for them. So I think eventually, as this year goes through for the next year, that we'll see them get more wrapped around that board concept or board idea. And my understanding is this will continue. I think it's what West Moberly, Soto, IMW, and Canuma came up with before they engaged the communities. I think there was definitely some discussion about this. I think they're a leader when it comes to that with Indigenous and the industrial partnerships. I think that's a leadership role when we look at the rest of the country. I think this is going to be something, as it's talked about more and more, and it comes to light what happened here. Like the bed of the first Hope Truck bed will be going into Chetwynd and displayed in Chetwynd, so it won't stay on that truck for next year. It'll be a different bed that goes onto that truck. I think you'll see more and more pickup in regards to other industries, whether that's mining, mills, stuff like that. Will pick up the same concept to help out those communities around those nations and stuff like that, and build those partnerships and the trust and those bonds, those friendships. So I think it's going to be a huge thing. So, Councillor Jelic and then Councillor Bertrand.
So from what I understand is that we're supposed to be making a decision tonight. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I'm, after hearing Councillor Hoffman, I understand where he's coming from. The reason I'm in support of 2 and 4 is those youth programs will still happen. And sorry, I'm forgetting the other one. I did go and look at the camp, and there's 3 happening. And I agree with you, Mayor Kakauka, like we just are not in the position this year to do that. I think we have a great location if we were to try and do that in conjunction with Soto, like how maybe we could work with the school district for the Gwillem camp and stuff like that. But Soto has such a wonderful facility there. And in saying all that, I would like to make a motion that we approve the youth video project option number 4.
Okay. Seconder on that. Councillor Norbury. Discussion, Councillor Bertrand, sorry. Okay. Any discussion in regards to the motion, and it's the number 4, Our Home and Our Story youth video project? Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. There's nothing really on this list that I would be against, but when it comes down to it, do we want to do 1 or 2? And I think with the scalability of option 2, I would rather do that. So I'll be voting against this motion with the preference for doing 1, and that would be option 2.
Yeah. Just before I go to Councillor Bertrand and Councillor Norbury, Ms. Scott, do we have an idea of some of the costs when it comes to like option 4, option 2? I know that we don't know the total fund yet. The total funds won't be decided until after the celebration that's happening at the Soto First Nations Culture Center. So the money that's for dinner, that sounds like they're going to have, they're obviously working on sponsorships and all this. They're going to be doing some silent auction, live auctions and stuff like that. That money that's raised there will also be split within the 4 communities. So there is no total yet, but I think we have a proximity of where we're sitting here within the last week or so. But Ms. Scott?
So for either option 2 or option 4, we could spend $25,000 on that project. I can't imagine either one of those projects would be more than 25,000, but they could also be scaled to be less. So we could do more 1, 2, 3 projects within the amount of money that we were allocated. But for either option 2 or option 4, neither one would cost us more than 25,000.
Thank you. Councillor Bertrand and then Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to be voting against this motion. I do like this project. I think it would tell an excellent story. I'm just wondering who's going to do it. Is it going to be community specific? This project could be region and make one video throughout the whole region kind of thing. I do prefer option 2. So yeah, I'll be voting against this one.
Thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd be in favor of 2. Like my thought would be do 2 and 4. If it's up to 1, I would choose 2. But I'll be supporting the motion as I'd like to bring forward number 2 next.
Thank you. I'm going to put an amendment on the floor. My amendment's going to be to also include option 2, Indigenous Trail Signage Project. If I can get a seconder. Councillor Norbury. Discussion. Councillor Julik.
Sorry, I was just going to say prior to this, I was thinking that we would do 2 and 4, so I'm absolutely in favor of the amendment.
Thank you. Any other discussion? So my thoughts here are, I'll be honest, the reason I went through it, I looked through it, I was in and talked to Ms. Scott. I think option 2 and option 4 on our first year is something that's, probably to me is important. Both are, and having some Indigenous language out on our trail networks, I think is very, very important. We're seeing more and more of that now when we talk about, the province of British Columbia now changing provincial park names to actually with the Indigenous name signage on it as well. So I think it's very, very important that, within our neighbors that live right close to us, Cloud Indian Band, West Moberly, Soto, within Treaty 8, Kelly Lake, I think it's important to have that. And what language do we use? Again, I think we leave that with staff, and staff needs to reach out to Treaty 8 and find out, because there is multiple different languages. The chiefs and that sit at that board, and I think that's where we need a feedback from Treaty 8. That whether we're using the Beaver people's language or we're using Dunsina language. Like I think that's staff will work on that and bring that back. Now, when we talk about the youth project in regards to the video project, I don't disagree with Councillor Bertrand. I think it can be regional, and I trust staff is going to look into this. Whether it's done directly with an employee with a camera and taking our youth to West Moberly or Soto to engage with the elders in the community there. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a contractor. Until they start working on those details, which again, that information is going to come back. But with us giving direction, and these are our top 2. Staff is going to have an idea of that amount. I believe I'd say probably early October. Maybe they come back and say, listen, we're about $5,000 short for doing 2 projects. Well, then that's a council initiative. Maybe they need an extra 10. I don't know until we get that information, but staff needs something to work on. And I think these 2 projects, one 100% includes our youth and our children. Like we put down youth, but it doesn't mean that we can't have children that go and meet with West Moberly and Soto and engage them and talk to the elders. I mean, Elder Dean Doki stops at Town Hall quite often. I know he was in and visit with Miss Scott. That doesn't mean that we'd always have to travel to West Moberly or so. We may see some of those individuals come up as well and dialogue with our community. So to me, that's why I put option 2 there. I think that's what we're all talking about. And I know we're trying to say, well, how much money? I mean, until the end, we don't know. But again, I think staff just needs direction to be able to come back and say, okay, well, this is what we were allotted. Both these projects fits in, and maybe there's money left over. Well, that will just carry over to next year. And then when they do this event again, that just adds more money. Like, I listen to Chief Wilson. You don't have to spend it the first day you get it. So that's why I put the amendment on. Any other discussion about the amendment? And that was adding option 2, the Indigenous Trail Signage Project. Call the question on the amendment. All in favor? Carried. Okay, on the amended motion, any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, I'm going to put the other recommendation on that that expenses be approved for all members of council to attend the Hope Truck celebration event being held Saturday, September 27th at the Soto First Nation Culture Center. Seconder? Councilor Norbury? Discussion? Just a couple comments I'll make. Again, staff just needs to be aware, just know so that they can book. So I guess if this does pass, I would reach out to Ms. Scott and advise if you're going to be able to attend it. I think this is going to be a great event that if we can't all make it, that we should definitely have some DTR representation from council. I know we don't normally make decisions for staff to travel, but I know I had a conversation with Ms. Scott. It'll be up to her if she attends this event. But again, I think it's important to definitely have our elected officials there, and if staff decides to join, so be it. But sitting on the board and listening to the plans that they're trying to do, I think it's going to be a great celebration. Everybody have an opportunity to speak from the community. So the mayors, or if the mayor can't make it, his alternate will have an opportunity to address all the folks that attend. So obviously the First Nations and non-Indigenous peoples, all the other communities. Which I think is going to be important. We're going to talk. We get an opportunity to talk about what we picked and why we picked it, and the event and what it meant to our community. I know staff did a mock-up of what it meant to be part of the Hope Truck initiative. It was sent off to IMW to work on the process of it. So if anybody does head out to that way, out on Highway 52 East, you can have a look and look at how many loads they've done in regards to the Hope Truck. And last time we talked, the Hope Truck does not wait in line to drop coal or pick up coal. It's an immediate, if he gets to the pit, he gets loaded first. So they're really trying to push on the Canuma side, which I think is, to me, it's fabulous. And you'll see all the sponsorship people that are out there who are going to be giving money per load. So I think it's important for us to be there. Okay, going to call the question. All in favor? Carried. Any emailed in questions, Ms. Scott?
No.
Thank you. Take a resolution to close, please. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor. That the August 26, 2025 special meeting of council be closed to the public according to Section 92B from the Community Charter to permit discussions about B, the consideration of information received or held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and a provincial government or the federal government or both, or between a provincial government or the federal government or both and a third party.
Seconder? Councilor Dussault, all in favor? Carried. 5-minute recess.